So both Balmain and Dior had no creative directors in place for the development and for the showing of this season.
And you know, I think what it proved by seeing their collections unfold on the runway was that you really do need a creative singular voice at these big design houses. Balmain was absolutely shocking. It was almost like they hadn't even absorbed any of the DNA that Albert Elbaz had brought to the brand over the last 15 years.
I get they probably want to move away from whatever his aesthetic was, but I don't necessarily think that 80s dynasty era is necessarily the direction you want to go.
Single tier emoji, because it wasn't very good.
The good thing on the flip side is that right after Fashion Month wrapped, Balmain announced Boucherie Girard as the new artistic director, and she is brilliant.
With Dior, they stayed true to the codes of the house. Not everything worked, but there was an essence of what Dior was. I don't think it was amazing, but I think it succeeded.
For Dior, my rating is basically the face with no mouth. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't anything. I already forgot everything that was in that collection. Attending fashion shows these days is all about getting it on social media. Massimo Giorgetti, the creative director of MSGM, asked attendees not to post anything on social media from his show, which is kind of amazing because these days when you're at a fashion show, you're basically looking at the collection through your phone and you're trying to navigate basically a field of other people holding up their phones and no one's actually paying attention to the collection itself. For me, that would be a huge relief to not have to social media the shit out of a collection.
To not have to be like Snapchatting, Instagramming, Facebooking every moment at a show, and I can actually concentrate on the clothes. So for that, I give it 2 iPhones up.
I thought that was a really brilliant idea. I don't necessarily think it's going to catch on, but I hope it does.
Whether you like it or not, Gucci is now ruling the style world, the street style scene, the red carpet.
As much as I love Alessandro Michele and I think that he's a genius, you definitely are seeing the Gucci effect across all brands.
What he's become known for is creating this fashion magpie aesthetic.
Geek chic, eclectic, vintage girl is popping up all over the place.
He's really done that for the house. He's completely changed the codes, he's changed the silhouette. It's slouchier, it's a little bit more frumpy, but it is everywhere. And I saw the influence, I'm not gonna name names, but there were several shows throughout Fashion Month in all the major cities where I was looking at pieces on these runways and saying, that looks like Gucci.
For example, Anna Sui, she's always been this eclectic boho, flower girl type vibe, but this season you definitely saw more of a nerdy vintage spin. Glasses, crazy layering of prints, doily dresses, which is definitely still within her vibe, but a bit of a departure from what she normally does. Even at J. Crew, there was a lot of vintage-inspired prints, printed suits, loungy loafers, all super Gucci-inspired.
One of the more interesting things that's happening right now in the fashion world is the shake-up between what's available on the runway versus what's available in retail.
So see now, buy now, things that were available right away as soon as the collection was shown.
But what designers are realizing now is that there's such a demand for product and everybody wants what's new, that to leave 6 months in between showing a collection and then offering it to a consumer is too long. This immediacy is actually 2 thumbs up because it's making the demand for product even better.
So for me, that gets, as Fashion Week becomes less and less of an insider event and more a public-facing event, to have things available right away while the attention is on the collection, while the attention is on these pieces, and while people are getting excited about it, just makes a lot of good business sense.